I just think it's pretty cool to be able to support a company that chooses to build products in the United States. Do not make the same mistake I made when buying my tractor. $30,000 plus machine that I simply wasn't able to tap into. Welcome to the OK Woodsman channel. This video is brought to you by Titan Attachments. I am convinced I now know what the most versatile, most important attachment you can buy for your tractor on day one. Do not make the same mistake I made when buying my tractor. You know, by the time you factor in financing and all of that on a tractor like I bought, you know, backhoe, remotes, third function, all the options that you want, you're well over $30,000. Once you factor in the insurance that's required with financing, taxes, all of it, you're touching $40,000. You know, so when you are thinking about how you're going to use my tractor, I was thinking about my tractor more as an earth moving piece of equipment. Of course, I knew that I wanted to be able to pick other things up, utility type work, pallets and all of that. But being responsible, it's like, okay, I'm gonna get the stuff on the machine that makes sense to just have the dealer do from the factory. And over time, I'll add the attachments. Well, what that left me was a $30,000 plus machine that had tons of capability that I simply wasn't able to tap into because of one of the least expensive attachments you can buy. And that's pallet forks. I had in my mind that I was going to be able to source some for cheap on Facebook Marketplace, because when I was doing tractor shopping a few years back, I was able to buy pallet forks for 400 bucks, new. So I started looking, checked all the standard places, Facebook, searched everywhere. Amazon's a big one. You can get a whole bunch of, there's Chinese ones on Amazon, but they're not very inexpensive. They're super expensive. And then of course I found Titan Attachments on Amazon, but then I started doing some more research. I got onto their actual website. What I found was they had US made forks in different duty ranges for, you know, skid steers, tractors. They had some super light duty options. But I bought a KIOTI tractor because I could pick close to 2,000 pounds up. So I didn't want to go with the super light duty, but I also did not want skid steer. What I found was Titan Attachments had an affordable, nice quality set of forks that were made in USA. And then I also saw that they had some slightly lesser expensive ones that were not marked made in USA. So I figured those were import ones. And I started talking to their customer service, doing research, and I'm convinced that for a US made pallet fork, you're not going to find a nicer set of forks for the money. In fact, I would argue that when I was trying to source some from an importer with some sort of name that you couldn't even pronounce, these were right in line with that price. I just think it's pretty cool to be able to support a company that chooses to build products in the United States and sells them for a competitive price. Can't go wrong with that, right? When I bought my tractor, I truly thought that I was going to be using it primarily with a bucket. Now that I've had the machine for a little while, I realized that I'm probably going to have the pallet forks on more than anything. Because I don't have a grapple, do firewood, all these totes. Pallets are an incredibly useful tool. I'm just thinking about all the different things I can do with the pallet forks. I can take a nice pallet, set it up as like a carry-all, a bargain carry-all. How cool is that? You know those things that you hook onto a 3-point or pick up with pallet forks, if you get ones made of all steel, they are not an inexpensive product. Yes, they may have some more cool built-in features, but oftentimes I'm just trying to move bulk materials like firewood bags, loose firewood. My tractor bucket doesn't hold that much loose firewood. That was one thing. I thought I'd be able to stack a bunch of firewood in the bucket and transport it effectively. Well, that has proven to not be the most efficient way. It would be better to loose throw it into an IBC tote, pick it up, and move it. I was sent these pallet forks for evaluation to test, make a video about, and just because I have a YouTube channel doesn't mean you're not going to hear my honest opinion about some things. I was ready to pull the trigger on buying some myself, but when a company is willing to help me out in my endeavor in growing this channel and letting you guys know about affordable options out there, I'm absolutely going to take it. I mentioned that just because I receive a product, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to be able to share with you what my opinions are. I'm super thankful to have these. They're really nice, good looking. I like the gray. I didn't want an orange or an off-colored orange from the tractor. I think that when things are all too close to matching or slightly off, I just would rather not have that. So I figured black or gray would be cool. And I like the gray, something a little different. Let's go ahead and pick up this load and move it out of here. And while we're doing that, I'll talk to you about something interesting that I didn't necessarily love about these forks upon initial inspection. I cannot tilt back any further. It's the hydraulics on the machine. So I have the forks lean back as far as they would by lowering it down. By lowering the forks down, tilting them up within the tote. Titan does a good job at providing an affordable quality product to you made in the USA in many cases, not all cases, and they ship them right to your door. I was shocked to see that this item was shipped via FedEx. Loose, of course it makes sense, you know, how do you box an individual fork? You know, because they shipped each individual fork blade and then the back plate individually. I don't have a problem with that. However, I don't care about the fork blade so much, but the back plane got fairly marred in shipping. And some of you may care, some of you may not. It is a piece of equipment, so it's kind of like, hey, you know, I mean, we're not talking about a Ferrari here, we're talking about a set of pallet forks. Just be aware that you will likely have some scratches on your pallet frame. I'm actually going to come in a different way with this because I've got a stump here that's going to cause a problem. I'll show you what I'm talking about on some of that paint here in a moment. Keep in mind, these were shipped 3 individual pieces via FedEx, and they were bouncing around in the back of the truck. If you live in more of a metro city type of environment where there's good paved roads and they're not driving down, you know, a ton of dirt roads every day, they may not have bounced around as much as these did. But let me tell you, when that FedEx driver came bombing down my driveway, I mean, I think from the inside of the house, you could hear these things jumping up and down inside the back of that box truck. It is a tool. And I'm going to scuff them up myself. I'm going to be using them for different things. But if you're the type of person that wants to keep all of your stuff immaculate, let's say you have a grudge for your tractor because you don't want the paint to fade. You're going to do everything perfectly just to keep, you know, you're going to be extremely sad if you get a slight pinstripe from a branch. That's something that you ought to be aware of. But if you are a person that's just looking for utility out of your attachments, because let's face it, they all just sit outside generally, weeds growing up around them or whatnot, it's not going to matter to you. That's the only branding on the whole thing right there. Sticker is marred up because, again, it was bouncing around. Of course, this does not have anything to do with the quality of the unit, okay? They are Titan labeled forks, all right? The size on them, I believe these are 42 inch. We do have your hay spears, your receiver. That's going to be coming in handy. I'm contemplating, though, putting a hole in here and putting a receiver ball in here. I feel like that might be a little bit more beneficial to me. Let me know your thoughts on that. But we have standard quick steer attach. They're going to be fantastic. I did want the headache rack. They do have these options without these, and they have more stout ones as well. But this is going to be very good for my purposes. Love the color on it. The color does, the paint does have a tendency to want to chip, just so you're aware. So I don't know if they charge extra for green or orange, but I wouldn't expect them to be beauty queens. They're a tool, right? They're an implement meant to be used on a tractor. I bring this stuff up only because I know that some people are extremely obsessive about that kind of stuff. If that's not you, don't give it a second thought. These are a great value, and I cannot imagine why they wouldn't serve a good purpose for you or myself. I'm extremely happy to have them. You're going to see them being used regularly on the channel. I will put some links below just so you can check them out at Titan Attachments. I don't think that I have any affiliate links right now. You can get them on Amazon as well. They ship them right there from Amazon, but I'd consider checking their website out. I think you can sometimes get a pretty good deal through them versus Amazon because they don't have to share the cut. So make sure you're checking out their website. They've got a bunch of different stuff. They have more stuff than I realized. And they have heavy duty pallet forks as well, grapples, all sorts of stuff. 3-point attachments. They're into a lot of things. I got a cat up on the Coyote. Hey, buddy. Hey, Scout. Come back down with me to the wood yard. Let's go get another tote. Getting back to the point of don't buy a tractor essentially without forks. If you've made the same mistake as I have, here's a good affordable option that you might be able to afford because you didn't finance them into the cost of your tractor. Remember, for me, I don't like financing stuff, but for me, this tractor is only here because the channel provides it. Your guys' viewership has made that happen. That viewership did not allow for me to buy a tractor outright. What that means is I'm making payments on it. And that also means that I need to draw a line somewhere in terms of how much I wanted to spend or how much I could spend monthly. If you're in a position where you only wanted to spend so much on your tractor and now you don't have the forks that you need or the implement you need, check these guys out. I generally don't want to mix wood, but I don't have any more red oak to split, and I think white oak is a good partner for this red oak for sure. I really do want to thank all of you for watching and commenting because of that. That's the reason why this tractor, this implement, and this channel has been able to thrive. We just hit 15,000 subscribers. First of all, I want to say thank you. That's incredible. I really want to get to 50 as quickly as possible with good quality content. And I'm telling you, the more this channel grows, the better quality, the cooler projects we can do. And I'll be able to help talk to you more about how I'm doing things, how you're doing things, and we can grow together, right? I know many of you have your own businesses or you're aspiring to have your own business. People write all the time talking about, hey, I just bought some rural land or I want to buy some rural land. And we're all growing together. Many of you have done it your whole life and you choose to spend your time here with my wife and I, my two boys and my wife. For that, I'm incredibly thankful. It has afforded, like I said, afforded us so many cool options. You know, the fact that we've got this beautiful split fire here, the fact that we have this tractor, all the chainsaws, and these cool forks from Titan Attachments. I need to say thank you to all of you, including Titan. Now that we have our own forks, because I had to return those other ones I was borrowing, we're going to be able to be as efficient as possible, knowing that my forks don't have to disappear, or the forks that I have on the tractor don't need to disappear. That allows for different decisions in how we organize our wood yard and our property in the future. We are thinking about how we're expanding going forward. My wife and I are taking steps. This year we have some big goals. We're talking about building a shop. We're talking about building a garage and finally getting this place to where it can be as efficient as possible. We have choices to make with what trees to cut and remove because we don't want to clear the whole place. You know, oftentimes property owners and developers, and I understand why they do it, they clear the whole lot. Start with a blank canvas. We had that option. It would have been certainly more efficient and I wouldn't be standing on a side slope right now. The beautiful property you see in the background is a result of my wife and I painstakingly choosing which trees to remove on a case-by-case basis. I had to take out more than I wanted. If you haven't been following the channel for long, my wife and kids and I built this house. I contracted out a few key things. There was a time constraint as well, right? I had a full-time job at the time of building this, and it took us 1 year. We do have a video about that. If you're interested, let me know down in the comments. I can post a link. Because of that, we dreamt of putting our home just kind of nestled into the woods. We didn't want to clear a couple acres, doze it all flat, and then build a house. Now, sometimes I kind of wish I would have done that, like right now as I'm thinking about the wood yard and future business opportunities. This side slope is dangerous for operating equipment, for operating the splitter on. My S10 has a problem getting in and out of the driveway if we have any snow or ice. But what we have is we don't have any setting water anywhere, and we like the aesthetic of it. We like the beauty of it. I do have some property up top here that we want to develop. And the problem is as soon as you get machinery on it, even if you don't remove trees, it kills trees, especially oak trees. We're wanting to preserve as much as we can while making it useful, because once you cut a tree, you can't get it back. And there's some beautiful, beautiful trees in there. That's why we fell in love with this property, the topography and the trees. We do have this Coyote with the backhoe here. There's gonna be plenty of action with that coming up. Lots of chainsaw action. And let me tell you, there's one thing, my mind is so full of what I want to do. I just don't know. I was thinking about digging that hillside out, but now I'm actually thinking about not, and I'm thinking about paying to bring material in, because I feel like I'll show you that here in a minute. Do y'all think it would be worthwhile having hooks on the pallet fork frame? So there we are. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 totes so far. We're not done with the wood we already have over there in rounds, and I've got more trailer loads that I'm going to be bringing home. That's some walnut there, mostly white oak and some red oak in here. Now let's talk about this upper area. We were just at a friend's house last night and saw their new shop for the first time, and it was 40 by 60. I believe that 40 by 60 would be a good size. It's larger than I originally wanted. Of course, I thought about 30 by 40. I'm a woodworker. I want to have a metal places to work on welding, and I don't want to mix those workbenches and those tools. You generally are not wanting metal smeared in your work. And in fact, metal chips on white oak creates that black staining almost immediately. 40 by 60, I think would be pretty good. I had this marked out before for something like, I've got some stakes here remaining, but they've since been knocked down. This was a corner. At one point, there was one corner of where I wanted to put the building. But I think what we're gonna do is take this building this way further, and I wanna have lean-tos on the side of it as well. So that's the goal, is a 40 by 60 type structure. And I am thinking about taking all of this out here. I might leave a couple key trees, but what I'm thinking about is grading this and putting a nice row of some sort of birch or something in here, river birch or something that's gonna kind of fill this in nicely. This is a utility easement right here. And so that's what I'm thinking for this area here. I'm gonna have 3-phase power out here now as well, pretty shortly, I believe. That allows for future expansion as well. I don't know if I would need it, but it's nice that it's an option. That stake was over there. I wanna say I had another stake in this vicinity here, and I was talking about earlier why I might not want to dig this hillside out. If I slope this in more, I'm losing precious, flatter space up top here. If I have a large building and I want to bring a trailer in or do some tractor work with some pallets or whatnot, move wood around, right? I'm picturing some lean-tos or something through here. Then what happens is I'm suddenly on a side slope again. And side slopes are a pain in the neck. And as you've heard me mention, unfortunately, too many times on the channel. Instead of just digging this out, I'm really kind of thinking more along the lines of someday maybe digging that out a little bit more on that side and doing some sort of retaining wall out of rock or something. That's way down the road, but just thinking about future development here. I want to document all of that here on the channel with you. I want you guys to share in our successes and in our failures. And I really do hope that we have a lot more successes than failures, but this is what I'm thinking about. I was going to flatten this out and make it woodyard, but we really need a building up here. And I think my wife and I have determined a way that we might be able to make that happen, hopefully this year. I'm gonna wait to remove trees because if it doesn't happen, I'm not necessarily wanting to remove trees right off the bat. If I went with a 60 by 40 building here, I wanna be able to have a lean-to on this side to be able to put the tractor in, to be able to stack and sticker some wood. My sawmill, I want to put over there. I want to bring some material in here. I'm trying to think about how to effectively make this work out well. A lot of these trees will have to go. I will try to leave some of, man, I would love to leave some of the pines, but all these guys here, these are already marked for removal because they need to go anyway. They're unhealthy, they're dead, they are in the way or whatever. I would absolutely love for you to share your thoughts about this process, share along with us in the development of our property, in the development of our family, and future goals that I have as a father and as a husband, providing for the family and giving the boys an opportunity to learn different kinds of trades. I want them to have the opportunity to get in the shop, build, create, weld, fix, repair, all that stuff. We value that stuff around here. Guys, thank you so much for watching the Okie Woodsman channel. Again, thank you for Titan Attachments for providing those fantastic forks. They're going to be used all the time here on the channel. We're going to continue on with what we were doing. Drop down in the comment section if you're new. Thank you to all the longtime subscribers that comment on every video and have great conversations down below as well. I love to hear what's going on in your life, what you would do different, tips and tricks. Again, I thank you for being here. See you on the next one.